All right. So, geometry, we are talking about congruent triangles today. So far, we've talked about the classifying triangles and the angles within a triangle. So, now we're going to be talking about, throughout this chapter, proving that two triangles are congruent. So, to begin with that, we got to talk about what makes triangles congruent. Okay, so this, again, you'll want to make sure to take notes on especially the highlighted parts. Okay, so for congruent triangles, those are two triangles that with the same shape and size. Same shape and size. What that means is that the corresponding parts, so angles, so all of the angles and all of the sides are congruent. Okay, so the exact same angle measurements and the exact same side measurements, or the side lengths. Okay, so with the same thing there, congruency statement says two triangles are congruent, and the order is going to tell you exactly what part goes with what. Okay, so if you look at this, A, B, C, and D, E, F, they're not exactly looking like they're the same exact triangle as far as, the left goes with the left, right goes with the right. So when you look at this, look at the order. A, B, C, D, E, F. So A goes with D. And so you can see in the picture, A is right here, D is right here. So they're not exactly looking like they're in the same spot, but they are congruent triangles, so those two correspond. And then we've got B goes with E, since they're both second, and there's B, so B and E go together. And then finally, C and F. C, 1, 2, 3, F, 1, 2, 3. And that's the same way for side length. So, for instance, like AB is this side, and that goes with DE, which is this side. And you can see that they're labeled the same, okay? So that's congruency statement. So you really want to look out for the order there, all right? And then CPCTC, this is something that we'll talk about later on when we're talking about congruent triangles in proofs, but CPCTC just stands for the fact that corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. Okay, so if you know two triangles are the same or congruent, then you know their corresponding parts, so their sides and their angles are also congruent. Okay, so those three things are going to really help with talking about congruent triangles along the way. All right, so this first one, number one, it says list all the congruent angles and sides based on the congruency statement. So we don't even have to have a picture here. Okay, so if you look at this, JKL, congruent to PQR. So the angles are just the letters. So angle J is congruent to angle P because they're both first and first. And then same thing. We have angle K is the middle, angle Q is the middle. So those are congruent. And then angle L is congruent to angle R because those are both the last angle listed. Okay. And then the same way goes for sides, but you got to go two at a time here. So JK would be one side. First and second would be PQ. So those sides are congruent. And then we have KL, second and third, is second and third QR. Those are congruent. And then first and third, JL, congruent to PR. Okay, so those are all the congruent or corresponding parts that are congruent. All right, and then the last part says write another way we could write this. So really all I'm doing is switching up the order. So let's say I started with K. I said K, L, J. Then I can switch up the other one, make sure K goes with the same one. So it starts with Q, L went with R, so R would be next, and then J went with P, so P would be last. That's another way to write that congruency statement, okay? And so, let's look at this next example. It just wants us to complete the following statements. So, based on this congruency statement, okay, what is the corresponding part that is congruent? So, we already know these two triangles are congruent, so now we just have to list what they're looking for. So, KM is a side. So, KM would be first and last. So, first and last would be AC, which is this one. So, AC is that first one. And then you have CY, so same deal. Look at your situation here. I've got CY is the last two, so PM is the last two, or MP, either way. And then finally PK is middle and first, so PK is second and first, and YA would be second and first as well. So that's how that goes for sides, and then look at the angles. So angle Y goes with angle P because it's the middle one, middle one. Angle K is the first, so angle A is the first. ACY would be ACY, so KMP for that angle. And then look at the last two. These are different names for each of the triangles. So MPK. MPK goes MPK. It's backwards, so CYA would be that one. Triangle CYA. And then the last one says YAC, so second, first, third. Second, first, third would be PKM. Triangle PKM. Okay? So all those corresponding parts go together there. Okay? So let's go to the back side here. Another example. So take a look at this example here. So it says, given GHJ, find the missing, congruent to triangle XYZ, find the missing measure. So in this case it says 27 is that. So since those are the same measurement, 27 and 27. So it says GJ. GJ is down here. Well, GJ is first and last. XZ is first and last. So those two should be the same if they're congruent. So this must be 18. XY. XY is this one right here. And since that XY goes with GH, that should be 27 as well. So there's 27. And then ZY, also 27. Okay. And then look at the angles. We have angle H. Well, it already told us that this was Y. And with isosceles, if these two sides are congruent, then these two angles must be the same. So if this is 38, that's 38 there. These two are the same. So we might have to do a little math there. So first, angle H goes with angle Y, so that's 38. Now for Z and J, we're going to have to do a little math here. So 38, and then these two angles are going to all add up to 180. So if I subtract 38 from 180, that's going to give us, what, 142? And so 142 is going to take both of those angles. So I just got to divide 142 divided by 2. That's going to give me 71 each. So both of those angles, 71, 71, which makes these also 71 and 71. Okay. There we are. Okay. So let's look at one more example, and then I'll give you kind of an example to try on your own. All right. So let's really number 7 would be better, but that's got the picture. We got to try one without a picture. So if for number 9, QRS congruent to MNP, I've got QR is 11. Okay, so if you want, you can always make yourself a little picture. Okay, that never hurts. QRS MNP. Okay, so QR, that's 11, which makes MN 11 as well. Well, let's see what we have here. QR is 11, QS is 15. And then MP is 2x plus 1. 2x plus 1. Angle S here is 84 degrees. Angle R is 32. And then angle M at the top is 17y minus 4. So it says find the values of x and y. So I gotta kind of use what we're doing here to find those values. So the first one I'm going to go with is the x. Well, MP goes with 15, so that one's pretty easy to find. So 2x plus 1 equals 15, and now I can just solve for the x value. So 2x equals 14, divide by 2, x equals 7. Okay. Now, let's look at the other one. So this one, I'm looking at 17y minus 4 is angle M. Well, I don't really have what this angle is, but what I do know is that Q is also 17y minus 4, and what we learned last time is that the three angles of a triangle add up to 180. So really, I'm just going to add those angles up. I've got 17y minus 4 is one of the angles, 32 is one of the angles, 84 is one of the angles, and they add up to 180. So let's go ahead and combine like terms. Got 17y, 32 plus 84 is 100 and what? 16. 116 minus 4 is 112. Might have to check my math on that. 11. Yeah, 116 minus 4 is, yeah. And then we go ahead and solve. So 112 subtracted to both sides. I get 17y equals, that would be 68. 68. And so when I divide by 17, I get y equals 4. And there's my x and y. So again, you can use a picture every time if you want to, okay? And that's my suggestion, is to use a picture. And number 7 already has a picture for you. So a couple examples I want you to go ahead and try are 7 and 8. Okay, so either pause it right here or I'll leave it up for a second, but go ahead and try those two on your own, and we'll talk about those tomorrow. And if you have questions along the way today, be sure to email me and ask, or again, hop on the Zoom call and I'll be there. All right? Peace. Pause it if you need to do that.